MMA fighter and son of ex-UFC champion nearly kills pro wrestler live. Police now investigating the brutal assault. We've got all this and more on today's episode of Elijah Schaefer's Week in Review. What's going on? My name is Mike Mendoza. I'm filling in for Elijah today. He will be back shortly. Got a little stuff that we're involved in right now. If you want to learn more, you can go to his Twitter profile and read all about it. But for now, you have me, and we have a few stories that we have to get into today. Some kind of interesting things that went viral over the weekend. Specifically with this first story that I want to get into, MMA fighter and son of ex-UFC champion nearly kills pro wrestler live. Police now investigating the brutal assault. I'm just going to read the article, and then we can go ahead and then watch the video. And just as a warning, the video is relatively graphic, but it's weird. I'll talk more about it in a bit. But it's not clear if it's like a wrestling bit. So I'm kind of ambivalent about this one. I'm not really sure what's going on here. But anyway, the story reads, a shocking scene unfolded at the Knock X Pro Wrestling event on Saturday when Raja Jackson, son of UFC light heavyweight champion Quentin Rampage Jackson, launched a vicious, unscripted attack on independent wrestler Stuart Psycho Stu Smith, leaving him hospitalized and prompting a full-scale criminal investigation. The shocking scene unfolded during a Knock X Pro wrestling show and was broadcast on the streaming platform Kick. Footage shows Jackson storming to the ring, grabbing independent wrestler Stuart Smith, known in the ring as Psycho Stu, and violently slamming him onto the mat. The situation quickly escalated when Jackson mounted the seemingly unconscious wrestler and delivered more than 20 unanswered punches to his head before other wrestlers rushed in to pull him off. That said, I'm going to bring up the video real quick. If you could pull that off my screen just for a second while I pull up the video. But yeah, I mean, you be the judge of this. I'm not a huge wrestling fan nowadays, obviously. I was once I was a kid. I had a roommate who's actually really into wrestling, like about 10 years ago. And there's a lot of like complexities and a lot of like lore and, just like certain ways they do things. It's called kayfabe. But I can't tell if this is like for publicity, because especially with streamers, like, people who do these types of like IRL streams, so the in real life streams where they're walking around, they're going to restaurants, they're going to events or whatever. There is a lot of scripted things, so I can't tell. It looks bad, but at the same time, it just looks like a wrestling match, so like a WWE wrestling match. So let's watch this. Tell me what you think. It is graphic, I guess. There's no blood or anything, so let's just watch it and see what you think.
Hey, you gotta stop this shit, man. Hey. Stop this shit, man.
Okay, sorry, just screeching noises from this event. But yeah, so I mean, I guess now that I'm watching it over again, it does seem like it was not scripted. But with wrestling and then with streamers, those are like two people that like you could never trust things at face value, which is why I had that initial impression. Even the way he was hitting him. I mean, if you watch in the WWE, sometimes what they'll do is they'll hold their hand right here, and the other person slaps down here to like make it sound louder. But like it looks like they're slapping them in the face, and they sell it. They like throw their head once they get slapped or once they get punched or whatever. So I was kind of unsure of what was going on here, but let's just take it at face value that he unprovokedly attacked this guy. The story behind it was that I guess the guy had bumped into him earlier in the day, like way earlier in the day, and like spilled a drink on him. I think he apologized to him, and then it warranted this. And then later on, after this, he's like walking down the street and he's like, "Oh, don't play with me, bro. Don't play with me, bro." Don't like. For some reason, maybe it's just when people get their adrenaline pumping, they just say the same thing over and over and over and over again. They're just like, "Don't play with me, bro. Don't play with me, bro. Don't play with." Like it just he's walking away, and he's just like ranting, and it's just like very very low IQ animalistic behavior from this one. And I mean, all I gotta say is that I hope that if he did do damage to that guy, which it seems like he did, that obviously he gets some justice out of it. Because yeah, it's rough. And I mean, if he apologized before and he didn't mean to bump him or whatever, or disrespect him, then it's obviously warranted that he gets some kind of justice out of this. But kind of a weird story, but it did go viral, and it just shows the unabashed penchant for violence from some of these people. It's really concerning, and it's really gross, and it's something that a lot of people that I know personally couldn't even fathom. I mean, most people that I associate with couldn't even fathom, like, I mean, unless they were protecting their family or something, they couldn't even fathom unleashing that type of violence on someone. Like, I mean, that should be saved for a life or death situation, not quote unquote being disrespected, bro. So anyway, on to the next story. Trump slams Chuck Grassley for helping Democrats block Alina Habba's confirmation as U.S. attorney. I'm getting all the good stories today. I'm getting all the Jim Hoff stories today. Not saying that everyone else there isn't great, but I'm a rolling sevens or whatever the dice term is. I don't know, who knows. I don't gamble. But anyway, President Donald Trump is putting the heat on Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, blasting him for siding with Democrats to block his nominee, powerhouse attorney Alina Habba, from being confirmed as U.S. attorney for New Jersey. Habba, a loyal Trump ally and seasoned attorney, appeared on Fox News Thursday night to expose the backroom scheming that has allowed Democrats and now some Republicans to derail her nomination. Earlier in the day, Obama-appointed Judge Matthew Brand declared that Habba is not lawfully holding the office of U.S. Attorney, siding with Democrat pressure groups and legal insiders who have waged war against her appointment from day one. Last month, federal judges in New Jersey, under pressure from Democrat Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, refused to extend Habba's interim term. Habba was forced to resign as interim U.S. Attorney, only to be reappointed as acting U.S. Attorney by Trump's Department of Justice in a bold move to bypass the judicial blockade. Habba revealed Thursday that Grassley is using the outdated blue slip tradition to block her Senate confirmation, effectively giving Democrat senators a veto over Trump's appointments. I will tell you this. Number one, I was a nominee to become the U.S. Attorney. Cory Booker and Andy Kim, who I have never to this day spoken in my life, I've spoken to in my life, despite my attempts to meet them, have truly, truly done us a disservice, Habba told Sean Hannity, sorry. Frankly, same with Senator Grassley, by holding up a traditional blue strip and a blue slip and not allowing a lot of the president picks to go through and be voted on by the Senate. Last month, President Trump told Grassley to drop the blue slip custom that defers the nominations to the home state senators. Chuck Grassley, who I got reelected to, or who I got reelected to the U.S. Senate when he was down by a lot in the great state of Iowa, could solve the blue slip problem we are having with respect to the appointment of highly qualified judges and U.S. attorneys with a mere flick of the pen. Democrats like Schumer, Warner, Kaine, Booker, Schiff, and others, sleazebags, all have an ironclad stoppage of great Republican candidates. Put simply, the president of the United States will never be permitted to appoint the person of his choice because of an ancient and probably unconstitutional custom that if you have even one person in the opposite party serving in the U.S. Senate, she must give consent, thereby completely stopping the opposite party's nomination. The only way to beat this hoax is to appoint a Democrat or a weak and ineffective Republican. Therefore, I would never be able to appoint great judges or U.S. attorneys in California, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Virginia, and other places where there is, coincidentally, the highest level of crime and corruption, the places where fantastic people are most needed. Are most needed. Senator Grassley must step up like crooked Joe Biden did when he openly broke at least 2 times the blue slip scam, and like others have done over the years, and let out our great Republican judges and U.S. attorneys be confirmed. And I gotta say, dude, these Trump tweets are so long now. They're so long. And it's funny because I knew that was Trump at the beginning. I don't know if it even mentioned that. Oh, yeah, because it mentioned that in the paragraph. I kind of like just glossed over that. But when he first said right off the bat, Chuck Grassley, who was down a lot, but then I stepped in and saved his career, I was like, oh, yeah, this is Trump for sure. But dude, like, man, 10 years ago, he would just like drop like two sentences, and then he would just nuke someone. Now it's like this like wall of text. So, but all things considered, it is just kind of ridiculous that all like, I mean, I'm sure there's like nowhere I can actually look up this stat, but it seems like we've used so many weird rules that like weren't that aren't typically like just all these default kind of judgment kind of things in the last since Trump has been around. It's like each party is trying to pull out every single trick from their sleeves. So I don't know. It's weird, but it's weird. It's unjust. It's not right, but it's just the reality of the political climate that we're in nowadays. So anyway, with all that said, I want to talk about something called Man's Edge by Neutronics Labs. From 6 a.m. to lights, or from 6 a.m. to lights out, life asks a lot. Oh, I had a rainbow slider moment there. If low T signs are holding you back, less power in your lifts, less patience at work, less spark at home, Man's Edge helps you take control. This multi-ingredient formula supports healthy testosterone and daily vitality. Fenugreek, Tonkat Ali, Tribulus, NO2 support for blood flow, and deer antler velvet for recovery, so you feel focused, strong, and confident. Consistency wins. Even if you're on TRT, Man's Edge can complement your regimen by supporting how your body uses testosterone. Join thousands of men taking back their day. Lock in 50% off auto ship at ElijahIGF1.com and use code Elijah for an extra 10% off your first order. Man's Edge, make men again. On to our last story. Connecticut town that voted for Kamala Harris fights against affordable housing units. Wow, surprise there. The demon rats are hypocrites once again. Bethel, a wealthy suburb in Connecticut that voted for Kamala Harris in 2024, does not want affordable housing to mar their pristine community. But wait, huh? I thought that. Why wouldn't they want? I mean, these are good people who just need loaves of bread to get their family by. According to the Hartford Courant, Manhattan-based Vessel Technologies is planning a 5-story, 75-unit apartment complex in the town, but residents in the majority white Democrat town are fighting the efforts. Diversity for thee, but not for me. I'm looking at my producer right now. Did you know Democrats are the real racists? That's crazy. The developer is warning officials that they face expensive litigation if they reject the project. The stark warning came during a heated planning commission meeting last week, where Vessel's attorney delivered a blunt message about the state's 8-30G law that severely limits towns' ability to block affordable housing projects. And the cost of litigation is not something to be just disregarded, Attorney Jason Klein told commissioners last week, a comment that was perceived by town officials as a threat, the Connecticut Post reported. Vessel wants to construct its signature 5-story building on nearly 4.5 acres along Nashville Road, but offered a compromise of just 4 floors following heavy neighborhood pushback this summer. Bethel residents object to the project, blasting its 5-story, later 4-story height and 75-unit scale as completely out of step with the town's low-rise single-family character. So, I mean, honestly, it's actually very reasonable. And I mean, I've never been to Connecticut before, but I know that, a lot of Philly, it's 2 stories max, and because it was built 300 years ago or whatever. So I mean, yeah, it makes sense that they want to keep the character, but it is funny that these people who are always talking about they want to make everything free, make everything affordable, they want to socialize everything, this and that, but what comes with that? People who don't look like you, and despite they're always trying to virtue signal for those people. Well, they don't want them living around them. Why? Because of the reality of what that may do to their neighborhood and do to their culture. It would just change it completely, and we've seen it time and time again in every big city. Now, smaller cities. I mean, even sometimes once you're just traveling the country, you'll see it in just random backwood towns that you never thought you'd see it in again. My wife is from the Northeast as well. And I was expecting to go up there and seeing all white people, and then there's Guatemalans everywhere. Very odd, but I would think they wouldn't love the climate. I mean, Guatemala is a very different climate. Being up in Northeast is just, I don't know. It's nice. I like it, but I don't know about for them. They might get they might get snowed in on a blizzard one day or something. So anyway, well, that's been this episode of Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us again. And I want to encourage you guys to go to gatewaypundit.com/join if you'd hit the mug button over there and join the mug club. The mug club not only gets you this beautiful mug, it's very weighty, very solid, and then has a great finish on it as well. Also, this beveled, embossed Gateway Pundit logo not only gets you this, but it also lets you support real journalism, real OG journalism from the likes of Jim Hoft, Kerry Castronova, Jordan Conradson, who we're working with closely now. Some of these people who've been around for a long time and who have really put their lives on the line, put everything they had into journalism and making sure that you get the news, not only in a expedited and quick fashion, but also as accurate as they can report it. I mean, look at Gateway's record. Gateway's record has never really faltered. So, and then that's because they get support from people like you because of stuff like the Gateway Pundit Mug Club. So again, my name is Mike Mendoza. Elijah Schaefer will be joining us maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Actually, well, for sure tomorrow, but maybe not today. We'll see what happens. But for now, I'd like to thank you for joining me, and God bless America, and we'll see you in the next one.